Hey, it's Nate Savage here from GuitarFam.com, where it is our mission to help you play the songs you love with the people you love. If you're just starting to get into fingerstyle, or you've been at it for a while, you may be thinking, man, there is so much to it, it's so complicated that I don't even know where to start or what to work on next to start getting better. Well, one of the biggest things I found is that it is critical to work on your foundational technique and accuracy through learning accompaniment patterns. And there are a lot of accompaniment patterns that you could work on out there. They're all great, but in this video, I'm going to show you my top 3 accompaniment patterns that I think are the most important to work on to develop your accuracy and technique. And learning accompaniment patterns like this can be helpful in a couple different ways. First off, if you're new to fingerstyle, it can be really demoralizing to jump into a song like Freight Train that's pretty complicated when you really look at it, and you start working on it and you feel like, I mean, I'm just never going to get this down. So the accompaniment patterns are a little bit more accessible, and the second thing is that they allow you to jam along to songs or even jam with other people just by kind of improvising with different patterns throughout chord progressions. Before we get into this, if you feel like you need a more detailed approach to these patterns, go to GuitarFam.com and sign up for the free fingerstyle accompaniment pattern workshop. It'll help you develop these patterns from the ground up, and if you want to sign up, the link will be in the description for you. All right, the first accompaniment pattern we're going to go over, I like to call thumb and fingers, and the song that I like to apply this to is just Let It Be by the Beatles. Okay, and all I'm doing is alternating fingers on the top 3 strings, and if you don't use all 3, you can just do 2, that's fine, and then a thumb on a bass note. Now the key here is, regardless of whether you're using like a folk style where you plant your finger, or Travis picking style where you plant your wrist, or if you're doing classical where you float your wrist, doesn't really matter. The key here is going to be to have some kind of tactile reference to where you know exactly where to go, and then get set up with those 3 fingers on the high strings, just G, B, and high E right in a row, and then your thumb is going to kind of bounce back and forth between the low 3 strings, E, A, and D strings, depending on what chords you're playing. But all you're going to do is get set up. This is a really critical part. Fingers here, thumb here, whether you're planted here or there, doesn't matter. But what you have to do is get used to playing. I'm just going to pretend, I'm going to use an E chord for this just because it's nice and simple. What I'm going to do is get set up like that. Thumb goes down on the low E string, and then my fingers are already in place and they just pull in like that. And what I do is I just pretend like I'm scratching a dog. I pull my fingers into the palm of my hand, and that's the kind of technique that I use. I thumb down, fingers go out. So thumb down, fingers go out, fingers pull, thumb goes back and prepares. Thumb down, fingers shoot out. Fingers pull in, thumb goes back to prepare. So you end up with this very sympathetic relationship like this, where fingers shoot out, thumb goes, fingers pull in, thumb goes back to prepare. Thumb picks, fingers shoot out and prepare for their next stroke. So that's all it is. And I leave my fingers on the high strings throughout all of these. And you can, like if you go back to your Let It Be example, all you have to do is change your thumb to the bass note or the root note of whatever chord you're playing. So if you're playing a C chord, just play a C note there on the A string. So and it may seem like a very simple fingerstyle pattern, but it can get you through a lot of songs, and it's a really good coordination developer for this sympathetic relationship between your thumb and your fingers that I found invaluable. I use this as my main warm-up exercise when I'm doing fingerstyle stuff, to calibrate myself to guitar and get my coordination going and get warmed up. So if you had that C, just alternate thumb and fingers, then I'll move to a G, fingers stay the same, thumb goes down to a G, so my thumb goes down to the low E string, low string notes there. And I would recommend going and learning Let It Be on the Guitar Fam site. It has some applications, and you can use this accompaniment pattern throughout the entire song if you want. All right, fingerstyle pattern number 2 is rolling, and there are lots of different variations on rolling. What we're going to concentrate on for this video is just rolling up. And what I mean by rolling up is I'm rolling up in pitch, from low pitch to high pitch, because it sounds like I'm rolling up. I'm not. I'm rolling up in pitch. So if I just put a G chord on, let's use a G for this one. And the song I like to recommend learning for this one is just Knocking on Heaven's Door, the Bob Dylan version. So all I'm going to do is get set up the exact same way that I was. 3 fingers on the high 3 strings. Thumb on the root note, the lowest root note of whatever chord I'm playing. In this case, it's the low E string for the G. And all you do, this is kind of an extension of the last thumb and fingers. Instead of doing all my fingers at once, I'm just going to do them one at a time. So thumb, index on the G, middle on the B, ring finger on the high E. Okay, so see how it's the same coordination as the thumb and fingers, but one at a time for the fingers. So, and one thing I found that's very helpful to get up to speed is to play kind of staccato, or look at it as almost like a harpsichord. I don't know if you've ever seen the inner workings of how a harpsichord works, where it plucks each string, and that's the way it feels to me. But the same thing happens here. As soon as my thumb goes down, my fingers go out to prepare all at once on the high 3 strings. And then you want to make sure that your thumb is super accurate and your fingers are super accurate. Slow down as much as you need to really get that down. And the only thing that will change from chord to chord as you use this one is what root note you start on or what bass note you start on. So if the next chord in Let It Be is a D. So my fingers stay the same, my thumb comes up to a D chord, or the D string, the open D. So you can get it really fast, but you don't need to concern yourself with that right now. What you need to concern yourself with is being focused on being super accurate and hitting the right strings every time. And then eventually, if you work on that, your speed will take care of itself. Okay, the next chord in Knocking on Heaven's Door is an A minor. Same thing, thumb goes to the A string. And then the next rotation through, it's a C. So thumb on the A string again. If you work at this, and this is on the Guitar FM site too, under the songs section, you're gonna end up sounding something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can double time it. Once you get used to that coordination. But the important thing here is to get the coordination down, be super accurate, and then go apply it to whatever song you like. All right, accompaniment pattern number 3 is really the gateway pattern to a lot of more complicated accompaniment patterns. And I call it the 4-step pattern because there are 4 distinct movements with your fingers that make up the pattern, and I'll just play it for you real quick. So 4 notes. And when you can play that, you can get into all sorts of other alternating bass stuff or things that are more complicated with your fingers in there too. And the song that I like to recommend that people learn for this is Country Roads. That's on the Guitar Fam site too. You can work on this one and then go tackle Country Roads if you like. But let's put an E chord on. And what I'm gonna do is get my same distinct setup, high 3 strings with these 3 fingers. I'm only going to be using my 1st and 2nd fingers though. And my thumb is going to alternate between the E and A string. So if you need help getting your thumb accuracy in order, go to guitarfm.com, sign up for the Fingerstyle Thumb Bootcamp. It's a free little mini course for your thumb again. That'll help with that. But for now, all I'm going to do is get set up here with my low E, with my thumb, play that. Index finger gets the G. Thumb now alternate back to your thumb on an A, and then middle finger on the B string. Okay, now where your fingers start, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it does for what chord you're playing. For now, I could be on the B and high E strings too, but I'm choosing to keep our standard setup here, G and B strings. Okay, so take this as slow as you need to. Get the mirror or the camera out to watch, or just look back to make sure E, G, A, B. And one thing I'll notice here is like I don't ever have more than one finger touching a string at any given time. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. And that's just a pattern that it's worth spending the time to get that down on each chord because the bass notes can change a little bit here and there. So do it for all your open caged chords, you know, C, A, G, E, and D. The bass might change here and there, but that's okay. You'll find out which ones work best for each individual chord, but the lowest root note is always the first one I do. On C, I skip the D string. On G, I skip the A string, but you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. The main thing is that you work on your accuracy and just getting this pattern down. So taking that super slow, applying it to country roads. And then, you know, slowly working it up to speed over time. And this is just the beginning. There are loads of different patterns that you can, you know, learn, but these are the foundational ones that I think are the most important to get these coordinations down. And the biggest thing you need to do is work on these slowlies until you have them down, just laser accurate, and then apply them to songs that you already know over and over again, or songs that you want to learn. And we have tons of songs for you. You just go to guitarfm.com/songs and go to the fingerstyle section, you'll see them. Now, I gotta tell you that I have had problems with consistency and accuracy, and one of the biggest things that have helped me get this under control is working on accompaniment patterns and being able to use them to do simple songs that use, you know, basic chord progressions, whether I'm playing with my wife, playing in a cover band, playing at church. These have helped me a lot. And what they've really done is built my basic coordination and technique to where I can go tackle the songs that I really want to play, like Freight Train or Windy and Warm, things like that. They're the kind of the proving ground where I've developed my core technique that have enabled me to go work on tougher songs. So let me know if you have any questions at all. You can email us support@guitarfm.com or leave a comment below. And once you start working on these and get them under your belt, don't forget to apply them to songs. We have a load of songs on guitarfm.com on the songs page. It's just guitarfm.com/songs, and you'll see the fingerstyle section there. Go pick one of those out, or, you know, pick any song that you've learned in the past that use just simple chords and start applying these patterns to them. And if you feel like you need a more step-by-step and detailed approach to these accompaniment patterns, just go to guitarfm.com and sign up for the free Fingerstyle accompaniment pattern workshop. The link will be below for you. If you have any questions about that too, just leave those here. That's it.